I'm Lebo, and in case you don't know, the Turkish Film Festival is currently in South Africa at the moment, and we'll be joined by directors Emin as well as Tolga, right?
That is correct. We'll be here in studio with us alongside Johnathan Andrews on the Gusto project, so let's see what we have in store for you.
Good evening and welcome to the Gusto project, where we talk to the artists of our time. We have two very special guests tonight. It's Tolga Karaçelik and Emin Apler. They are acclaimed Turkish film directors gracing our studios tonight. And on the Gusto panel, I have Lebo Magolego and Dyke Moru. Tolga, Emin, welcome. Thank you. It's an honor to have you here, and we're very excited to see the films that you're going to be showing at the Turkish Film Festival that's happening in South Africa right now, the 4th annual Turkish Film Festival. Both of you, as I understand it, you weren't or you haven't been in the film business all your lives.
Yeah.
What made you get into it, Tolga?
Well, thanks for having us, first of all. It's a great honor to be here in South Africa. Well, first of all, I studied law, not filmmaking. And after finishing law school, I went to States, New York, to study filmmaking for myself. And there I learned filmmaking. Then I came back and continued working at various other jobs. And I was shooting short films at that time to get myself ready for my first feature. So when I came back, I didn't jump in the business or jump in the sector, let me put it that way, because it's still not business for me. So I just wanted to have my time to develop myself alone, to find my voice in a way, by shooting shorts. What kind of a film approach do I have? What do I want to do? But before then, for me, it was only writing. I was writing short stories and poetry. Then, when I was 29 years old, so 5 years after shooting some shorts, I found myself on my first set. So I can say that I'd never been in any other person's set all my life, except mine.
Interesting. And Emin, is it similar for you?
Yeah, more or less. I've studied economics.
Economics.
Yeah, film schools were not very popular back then in Turkey, and filmmaking as a job is not very popular for our parents, especially. Probably they will be shocked if they had heard that I wanted to study film. So I just went to economics, but I was always into cinema. I always wanted to make something related with art. I also wrote some short stories, poems when I was in the high school. But I have never studied film. But in the university, I was a member of an active member of film club. So we were watching films, we were writing articles, we were publishing a magazine. Then I made PhD in Turkish history. So, because I was very hopeless, in those times it was very difficult to shoot films in Turkey. There were 3 or 4 films being produced in Turkey at that time, so I decided to make an academic career. But then, after a point, I said to myself that I would be never happy if I cannot shoot a film. And yes, 5 years ago I shot a film.
Right. So
okay, Lebo, Dyke. Now, so these two gentlemen, acclaimed movie directors,
yes.
Okay, with diverse backgrounds, never engaging initially when they started studying and so on in the subject, but now we've got these two talents. How do we even begin to get to the essence of this passion that they obviously have for the medium? What would you say, Lebo?
I mean, obviously, considering, Emin, that you studied, you have a doctorate in modern Turkish history, so do you incorporate that into your filmmaking in terms of from a local perspective?
Not consciously. I mean, I don't know, probably it's really influenced each other. I mean, this influence is not one way, probably it's both way. Probably it really affected my perspective. But for me, these disciplines are completely different.
The history and the filmmaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Dyke?
You know, I actually was listening to Tolga talk about how you also studied law. I think, I wonder from business-wise, I actually heard you mention something about business itself within film. If you want to separate the two, is it possible for you, as someone who has studied law, to incorporate the knowledge that you have to be able to protect yourself as a filmmaker in understanding the law?
Of course, like if you studied something, it's always part of you, so you cannot deny, you cannot take it out of your system, of course. And law, studying law, I excuse my English, but I chose it. I chose to study law, not to become a lawyer actually. I wanted to study law. Okay. Because it gives you a way of thinking. You think on articles. If this is this, then this is that, then it also is like kind of like mathematical way of thinking also it gives you. So it helps me a lot. Everything that I did in my life helps me. That's what I believe. Everything that I did in my life brought me to wherever I am right now with what I'm doing right now. So I cannot separate it, of course.
What about touch on some great moments? We read up, of course, about the two of you, and there were some interesting things, Lebo.
Yes. So Tolga, so you obviously
only good stuff that you.
Sorry.
Only good stuff, right?
Yes.
Only the best.
Don't believe in everything that you read.
Only the best. I think let's get right into your first feature.
Yeah.
So you were a toll booth operator.
Yeah. Toll booth.
Yeah. So now, obviously from your experience, so you decided this is the kind of a direction I want to take in obviously having this as part of my feature film. Can you please explain a little more about that?
Sure. Well, while I was working in toll booth, before toll booth, while I was working when I came back from States.
Just to also put it out there, so toll booth is a call center. So is that
not
what
call center?
What
you know, on the highways,
exactly?
on the highways. I don't know, you guys have it here, but on the highways, some
it's
countries,
like where the toll gate is.
It's a toll gate. It's a
All right.
toll gate.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the toll gate operator.
Okay.
Yes.
South African version of my movie. And while I was working in my daily job, it was like I felt like I was, you know, sometimes you feel like you do the same thing over and over again. So when you even look at things, you don't look at them, you can't see properly, you can't hear properly. It's like you're under the water.
Yeah, you're so comfortable.
So, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So what I was doing was that. I was living in a box, which is my house, then getting in another box, which is a car, then going to another box, which is the cubicle that I was working in. So while I was doing it, I saw this toll booth guy, toll gate guy, let's say.
Yeah. South African terms.
Yeah, toll gate guy over there doing the same thing over and over again, and he was literally in a box. So I said, it was my way of getting out from my box, and I chose to tell that story actually because of in everyday job. When he calls sick, there is just a machine that's doing his job next to him. So it was my routine actually, over and over again. So that was the reason that I shot toll booth guy first. Toll booth.
And Dyke, a moment for Emin?
Actually, Emin, I realized that you have Frenzy, which is somewhat a politically driven film. Funny enough, just off screen, we were having a hectically politically infused discussion. I wanted to find out from you, are you inspired? Are you informed in the kind of films that you make by the politics of things, local, domestic, international?
Of course. I mean, in Frenzy, I was directly inspired by the political situation in Turkey. You know, there's an ongoing clash between Kurdish armed groups and the state in the last 30 years in Turkey, and it really influenced our imagination, our lives directly, because our generation, when we became conscious, there was this fight, and there's still fight ongoing. So especially Frenzy was directly inspired by this political situation, a kind of semi-civil war atmosphere, I can say.
Do you consider yourself somewhat of an activist?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, now very interesting. So Tolga, you actually became a toll booth, toll gate operator
Yeah, I did,
to
right.
put yourself into the position of this person so that that experience can inspire the film.
First I found the idea of this, the similarity of the metaphor, and then I wrote a letter to the syndicate of workers. So I told them, actually I sent them, shaming, I sent them a bad poem actually, and they were making fun of me. Who sends a
poem?
Syndicated poem? So, but they replied back with one sentence only. I think they didn't like the poem, that's why. The guy who you will contact to is blah, 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 and the phone number. So I called them and I told them, look, I want to do this film with your help. I can do a better film. Without your help, I will still shoot this film. So it will be a worse film, so you choose your side. And then, yeah, I was in the toll booth area. I worked literally for a day or two in the toll booth because it's forbidden to work, you know, if you're not from the syndicate. But I was always around. And I did 2 days of 8-hour shift, and then I realized that my idea was really something that I didn't think quite right while I was writing the script, because the real task was not doing the repetitive thing, but the real task on a human being is doing an unfinished job which you cannot conclude. There is no conclusion. Your shift finishes, but the thing continues over and again, so you're always unsatisfied. That was not my motto in the beginning, but then I realized that's also a part of the thing. Then the father issue, etc., had came.
Okay.
Now, Emin, have you had a similar process that you in your filmmaking endeavors have engaged in to what Tolga has just described?
Not for the film, but I mean, the film is coming out of my own experiences from my university years, because I was living in a kind of shanty town next to my university, and my film is also taking place in a shanty town, in a political shanty town. So I wrote the script from these memories. I mean, so I had a kind of similar experiences when I was a student. But before shooting, I didn't go to the political neighborhoods and experience.
Okay. Now, Lebo, Dyke. So we've got some films that really made it great here.
Yes.
These two gentlemen have been there where the buzz is at the big film festivals.
I actually
Cannes,
I meant to touch
Sundance, my
Yes,
goodness.
Yes, Tolga. It's just incredible. I'm actually got chills down my spine when you talked about how you were going to make your film regardless of the situation. And I suppose now we're grateful because here you are, having been to Cannes.
Not yet.
Oh, you haven't been to Cannes yet. Yeah, on your way to Cannes. Then there's Sundance in the work as well.
Sundance, Toronto.
So looking back where you are right now, having made that decision in hindsight that, listen, I'm not going to give in, I'm not going to give way to impediments. How do you feel sitting here right now, this moment?
Well, I feel like I'm the way I'm feeling sitting in Istanbul. It's not that much difference wherever you are, whatever the film had been shown. Of course, I like the appreciation, and of course, I like people to see this. But festivals or awards are not part of the process of my process. These are processes of producers or distributors or the people who buy the ticket to go to see them. It makes them happy. Me, my process is when you have that idea, just to get it out of your system. Because no matter what price that can be at the end, I don't think it would be bearable if you have that as a motive, doing the same thing for 4 years. While I'm writing in IV also, the last film I also worked in the ship for a month. I did travels, and I think it took me 10 years of notes, thinking about the same thing. You break up with your friends, you break up with your friends, you don't see your family, you sit alone in your room doing the same thing, and not any Sundance, not any Toronto, not any Carlo where it would be compensating it for me. So it's not part of my process. It's somebody else's process, some other people's process. So yeah, I like appreciation, but of course no one would hate appreciation, but
Yes.
It's not part of the process. You try to keep it away of your system, because then the awards thing comes to you. Like you think about getting an award, you think about, then you'll be making films for those, for entering those festivals, because everything is a code. And so I try to keep them out of my system.
Emin, what's your take on exactly what we're talking about now?
I completely agree with him. Yes, my first two films were in the big prestigious festivals, but you really feel pressure because you set an expectation for the audience, and audience starts waiting for you another bright start from a festival. But as Tolga said, it's a big pressure. I don't like this feeling. I want to be free. So especially in my third film, I'm trying to convince myself that forget about the festivals, awards, anything, but concentrate on your idea, your film.
All right, so, so now for aspiring directors, people who want to be in your seat right now, how do you keep motivated? And how do you keep relevant also?
Who are you asking to me?
Both, yeah, both, definitely to both of you.
Well, the thing is, being a director is not my ambition. Telling that story is my ambition. And if that comes to you, then you'll be shooting with your phone's camera. You'll be shooting with anything that you have. And there is not any aspiring director. There's a director or not a director. If you're a director, if you have that idea, then you shoot it. And that's the only thing. And always fail.
But
like,
where do you start? Because I feel like just to, you know, in a way, to bridge a gap, where do you start if you feel like, okay, I've got this brilliant idea, I've got this story?
Put it down on paper first, of course. Then it will help you find a DOP and an actor. Then they'll be knowing what you're talking about. So take notes. Take notes, and then I did 5 shorts before I shot my first film. Santese says that if a general that's victorious is a general who decides to get in the war. Then find your own time of taking notes and decide the time that you'll get in this war.
We're talking to Tolga Karaçelik and Emin Apler on the Gusto project. And Emin, we were just talking about something which means a lot, and that is what you make a film for, where the passion to make the film comes from. And this whole process of, as movie director, interpreting the script into a story that people can relate to and watch at the end of the day.
It's difficult to answer because really I don't know the answer actually. I was reading stories, I was amazed by stories, and then I found myself mimicking these stories, trying to tell stories in the same way. So, for example, I saw a wonderful film when I was young, and I said that I should make something like this. This was the main root of this passion. So, I mean, it's really difficult to identify the source of the passion, but I always thought that I have to tell some stories. And I also write my scripts by myself, so directing and script writing is something cannot be separated for me. So I don't know, I cannot answer this question satisfactorily, but it comes naturally and automatically.
So the desire to tell the story as it is, and somewhere something would have happened now in your case that sparked this passion to get it out there on the big screen. Dyke, on that, last question.
You know, it continues to fascinate me that the two of you, having interacted with the disciplines that you have in the past, have come to find what you're truly passionate about, what you're able to articulate to the world. I think, to borrow a term from the Germans, one would call you guys what they call a Wunderkind. So basically, someone who's just been able, just someone who's been able to achieve so much.
Do you know what it's saying?
Wonderkind, I don't know how he pronounced that also.
Wonder child.
Yeah.
Wonder child.
Yeah.
So basically, someone who's just been able to achieve so much at such a young age, having done all of the things that you guys did before film, how do you guys feel about the fact that you've been able to do so much in film and enjoy such incredible success? How does that come about, and how do you relay the message of positivity to people coming after you guys?
Let's try to make that very long question short to answer.
Seriously, like there is no success in filmmaking. I don't. It's a process again. What I'm saying is always the same thing. But seriously, it's just a process. It's like I don't think I never thought myself as a successful something in filmmaker or something like that. I know that I success telling the story that I wanted to tell exactly the way I wanted to tell, in the way that I wanted to tell. And the things that I wanted to focus was what I wanted to focus, and I wanted also the audience be able to watch this, which is really a problem also for me. So what I'm trying to tell, telling them my way and make people continue being able to watch the thing is one of my biggest concerns. So I can be successful in only that, but I can't carry the word successful with me wherever I go. It's not part of me. It's part of that film that way. And in the first film, I also wanted to tell that story that way, which some people liked, some people didn't like, but I thought myself successful. So in that film also, the next movie I might fail. I don't know, but it's not a word that you can carry in your pocket. Successful. What does it mean? Successfully told. Maybe that thing.
Yes.
And maybe to Emin, the last one.
My last question. So, any projects? It's actually to both, but I do remember, Emin, that you did mention working on a third feature film at the moment. You also did mention that where you're staying is where you're shooting this feature film. So, any new projects?
Yeah, but
that we can look.
I'm just writing the script now.
Oh, you're just writing the script at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably next summer.
When is summer in Turkey? That's a good question.
Now is summer in Turkey.
Now is summer. So next summer, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And you, Tolga?
Yeah, I'm also writing, and I think it will be also either next summer or next fall, which is September now.
Okay. I was about to say, is it a thing in Turkey that you release in summer?
No, it's easier to shoot.
Okay, I guess.
Better lights, and also, yeah, I don't know why.
Now, can I be forward in asking my last question?
Sure.
And a little bit about what you're working on now? Or is that forbidden?
No, it's not forbidden.
Okay, Tolga, maybe briefly, please.
I'm working on this comedy, actually, dark comedy, about 3 people that are actually brothers and sisters, 2 brothers and a sister, reuniting, trying to reunite and heal when they are called back to the village that they left 30 years ago and didn't see each other. Maybe 3 or 4 times they had seen in this 20 years of time, and them trying to reconnect with each other.
Ah, okay. Emin, you?
Mine will be a drama about 3 sisters from a village. And this project will be a little bit different than the first 2 ones, because it will not be directly political. My first 2 films were more or less political films. This will be a more human drama, I can say.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I wish you all the success.
We thank you.
And that wraps up Gusto Project. And there's still a few films left to see during this 4th annual Turkish Film Festival that you can catch at selected Cinema Novo theatres. Goodbye.